I want to share with you today another one of my heart cards from my Healing Hearts Oracle card deck. The one for today is called Dark Heart. Now there are a couple of hearts in this deck that every time people pick them, they have the same reaction. Dark heart, what does that mean? Or heart trap is another one when people look at it and think, that's not me, it doesn't apply to me. My experience with working with oracle cards and the wisdom and guidance that comes through them is that 99% of the time, there is something about it that does apply to you, or else your spirit wouldn't have picked it for you. If you really truly know it doesn't apply to you, then think about someone else in your life to whom it could apply, because you might be the conduit or the channeler of that message for that other person. So let's have a look at Dark Heart with lightness in our heart to see what kind of guidance and wisdom is coming in for us today. Dark Heart says, if you feel stuck and things seem dark in your love relationship, lift your face towards the sun. Allow its rays to recharge you. Open your eyes, creating the intention to see love's light all around you, and invite the stagnation to erode away. So you see, it's not talking about a darkness of your heart. It's letting you know, it's reminding you that if you are feeling stuck in some part of your relationship or your whole relationship, there are things that you can do to change that. You may not be able to change your relationship, but you can change yourself. You can change your relationship with that relationship, for example. So I'll read to you now from The Heart's Journey. Oops, there it is. This is the guidebook that I've written that shares my own story of Heart's journey, Heart's transition, and explains to you how to work with the oracle cards, what different kinds of readings you can do. And then each card has its own story. And so I'm going to read to you right now the story of the Dark Heart. It was a dark day, literally, when I saw this heartstone embedded in the cliff I was walking past. The cliff face was made up of marine clays and conglomerate rocks, each being eroded out by the elements. This did not strike me as a light heart, and in fact, love can take us into some very deep and dark places, the caves of the soul. More correctly, relationships can take us to those places. When we can truly receive and give from the heart without expecting anything in return, the energy of love lights the way out of those dark places and leads us back into peace and light. Everything changes. That is the only constant. As humans, we become very good at holding on to the dark because it feels so familiar. Erosion can be a slow process, so allow your own timing to flow if you have a knowing need to change your heart's dynamic. There's a lot going on in this message, actually, when we look at it with a little more intention. So the idea that relationships can take us into the caves of the soul. I work with a lot of people who are going through relationship transitions, and often they are very painful and very traumatic. The releasing of a relationship when there is no energy left in it is possibly one of the most painful things that we do as human beings. And I believe it doesn't need to be that painful. I'm not sure we're there yet in our emotional evolution. I think we have a lot of cultural influence that tells us love has to stay, love has to look a certain way. We've got the whole princess-prince fantasy, the happily ever after. The reality is a little different. And what I see on a regular basis are people trying to pick up the pieces where they feel like they've been betrayed or abandoned, or they're full of guilt or shame, or there's been violence, or many other different manifestations of how relationship can dissolve. I'm not going to say go wrong, because I don't believe that any relationship goes wrong. I think every relationship has a correctness to it that's important for wherever you happen to be in your life. And sometimes these relationships are here to get us to change, to get us off our rumps, and to create different habits and patterns of relating to people. These are the real challenging ones. So that's the caves of the soul. That's where these relationships can take us sometimes. But when we are able to say, I love you, I give to you, and I don't do it because I need you to prove to me that you love me by the way in which you respond to that giving, and I don't do it because I expect you to give me something in return. I do it because it feels right. That's the foundation right there. When you are in a relationship in which you are able to give and receive equally and appropriately without feeling like that giving and receiving is making you less than you really are, then you're in a really good, strong relationship. So think about that. How do you function in the dynamic of your give and take and receiving and giving in relationship? And then the other part of the message is that everything changes. Everything. But there is timing involved. Sometimes it just takes time. And in fact, before I pulled that card, that's what I heard. As I sat down to do the card pull, I heard sometimes it just takes time. So let it take time. Always do it with help though. As I've said before, and it's come up in some of the other card pulls, you're not ever meant to do this alone. And if you find yourself stuck in a relationship and you want that relationship to change and you want to stay in that relationship but have it change, then do that and do it with help. A friend, a counselor, whomever. Just make sure you do it with somebody else. I hope this has been helpful and insightful for you, or perhaps you could share it with somebody else today. Enjoy.